Taiwanese ships drove away a Chinese Coast Guard boat yesterday. The Chinese vessel had entered Taiwan's waters near the Kinmen Islands. The rise in tensions comes a day after China's Coast Guard boarded a Taiwanese tourist boat. Meanwhile, Taipei says it is continuously tracking Beijing's ship activity near the Kinmen Islands. Sweden will donate almost $680 million in military aid to Ukraine. The package includes ammunition for artillery and anti-aircraft guns. It also includes maritime assault vessels and sea drones. This will be Sweden's 15th round of military aid for Kyiv. Meanwhile, Polish farmers dumped all the grain imported from Ukraine on railway tracks yesterday. This happened at the border between Poland and Ukraine. Protests against the import of Ukrainian grain come after some farmers say that the sale of their own produce has been severely impacted. Meanwhile, Ukraine says that the protest by Poland's farmers is a betrayal of European values. Russian President Vladimir Putin has denied accusations that his country is deploying nuclear weapons to space. Putin also said that Russia will always work towards cooperation in space rather than its weaponization. This comes after the US claimed that Russia had some sort of nuclear capability in space. However, Washington, D.C. did not elaborate on the allegations. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro yesterday. The two leaders met as the Russian FM continues with his tour of Latin America. Lavrov and Maduro discussed cooperation on oil, gas and nuclear energy. Lavrov will next travel to Brazil. Ahead of Lavrov's visit to Brazil, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived in the South American nation. Blinken will participate in a G20 meeting as Brazil assumes its presidency of the grouping. Blinken will also meet Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. After this, he will travel to Argentina on the 22nd of February. U.S. President Joe Biden says he will announce more sanctions against Russia this Friday. The White House has said, and I quote, "We will hold Russia accountable for what happened to Mr. Navalny." Alexei Navalny was an opposition leader in Russia who was found dead in prison last week. The sanctions also come a day prior to the 2-year mark of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis is in India for a 2-day state visit. He will hold bilateral talks with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Mitsotakis will meet other leaders of the Indian Parliament as well. The Greek PM will also travel to Mumbai to meet Indian business leaders. Two major political parties have agreed to form a coalition government in Pakistan. Former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's party, the PMLN, and former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's party, the PPP, will be joining hands. The coalition has nominated Nawaz Sharif's brother, former PM Shehbaz Sharif, as the next Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's father, Asif Ali Zardari, will be the coalition's presidential pick. Clashes erupted at the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Thousands of protesters blocked the border crossing, opposing the Pakistani government's recent diktat. Under the new regulations, Pakistan is allowing only valid passport holders to cross the border. The Pakistani police fired tear gas shells to disperse the demonstrators. Albanian protesters pelted stones and threw petrol bombs at government buildings last night. Demonstrations erupted after an opposition leader was put under house arrest on charges of corruption. The Albanian government has now deployed more than 1,000 security officials in the capital city of Tirana. The Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Jean-Michel Sama Lukonde, has stepped down. The resignation has triggered a dissolution of the government. Lukonde will now carry out his duties as a member of parliament. DR Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi will oversee the formation of a new government. Israel has launched a military exercise in the border regions with Lebanon. Tanks and attack helicopters will take part in live-fire drills. The drills come as tensions between Israel and the Lebanon-based Hezbollah group continue to spike. Moving to climate news, China has issued its highest weather alert for a cold wave. This comes after severe blizzards, snowfall and icy rain hit several northeastern provinces in China. In the Henan province, more than 100 trains were delayed due to bad weather yesterday. Meanwhile, heavy snowfall shocked several cities in the Hebei province. China's weather agency says temperatures in some areas could fall by 20 degrees Celsius by Friday. A winter storm battered the U.S. state of California with hail and heavy rainfall for the third straight day. This knocked out power for over 11,000 people and shut down the Santa Barbara airport for a day. Southern California is on watch for potential flash floods and mudslides. However, American forecasters say the storm will leave California by later today. In Bolivia, torrential rains have put hundreds of towns on alert for floods and landslides. Boats were used to rescue some locals from submerged regions in western Bolivia. Officials say at least 33 people have died since November due to bad weather. So far, more than 11,000 families have been victims of extreme rainfall in the South American nation. Incessant rains have triggered floods in several parts of Ecuador. In the coastal town of Playas, people used ropes to evacuate themselves to safety. Meanwhile, a bridge collapsed after 10 hours of continuous rainfall in Ecuador's southern El Oro province. Authorities say at least 5 people have died due to bad weather since the end of January. The South American nation of Peru is witnessing unusual weather conditions. In the capital city of Lima, residents flocked to the beach as temperatures rose above 30 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, people at Peru's northern coast are struggling with floods. Peru's weather department says that the El Niño weather phenomenon has directly influenced these climate conditions. The Australian city of Perth has recorded its 7th day above 40 degrees Celsius this month. This is well beyond the previous record of 4 days that was set in February 2016. Western Australia has been suffering severe heat waves for 3 weeks. This has also prompted bushfire warnings in the state. COP28 President Sultan Al Jaber has urged countries to begin taking action to transition away from fossil fuels. He added that nations must update their plans to tackle climate change. The COP28 Climate Summit had taken place in the UAE last December, and countries had pledged to move away from fossil fuels. The COP29 Summit will take place in Azerbaijan this November. Moving to business and tech news, Elon Musk, the billionaire who is also the founder of brain chip startup Neurolink, says that the company's first patient can control a computer mouse using their thoughts. Last month, Musk announced that Neurolink had successfully implanted its first brain chip in a human patient. Musk says he hopes these chips could one day help treat conditions like autism, depression, and schizophrenia. Meanwhile, Musk's electric car venture Tesla has hit a roadblock in Germany. The company's site expansion plan was reportedly voted down by locals in the German town of Grünheide. Tesla plans to tear down trees to build extra logistical spaces for a train station and warehouses. Now, local authorities are expected to decide if they want the plan to go ahead or not. US carmaker Ford has dropped the prices of its Mustang Mach-E electric SUVs by up to $8,100. This comes after sales of the Mach-E models fell by over 50% in January. The lowest priced Mach-E 2023 model will now cost about $40,000. Meanwhile, the higher-end Mach-E GT spec has been priced at just above $52,000. United Airlines will be relying more on its Boeing 737 MAX 9 jets for now. Yesterday, the airline's CFO, Mike Leskinen, said that they will continue using their current fleet of MAX 9 jets. This comes as the company's order for 277 Boeing MAX 10 jets has been delayed. Boeing's MAX 10 aircraft are still awaiting certification from the US aviation regulator. Abu Dhabi's sovereign wealth fund Mubadala Investment is reportedly looking to buy a stake in London's Heathrow Airport. French investment firm Ardian has approached Mubadala for the deal. Last year, Ardian agreed to acquire a 25% stake in Heathrow Airport with Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. If the deal goes ahead, Abu Dhabi will become the airport's third Gulf state shareholder after Saudi Arabia and Qatar. US retailer Walmart reported strong earnings for the fourth quarter yesterday. The firm's quarterly revenue rose by 6% to $173 billion. This is compared to $164 billion reported in the same period in the previous year. During the earnings call, Walmart also announced the acquisition of smart TV maker Vizio for $2.3 billion. Citigroup has raised compensation for its CEO, Jane Fraser, by 6% to $26 million. The company's board said that Fraser's pay is determined by the organizational changes she has brought. Citigroup last month announced plans to cut over 20,000 jobs in the next couple of years. Jane Fraser was appointed CEO of Citigroup in 2021. British banking giant Barclays has launched a major cost-cutting drive. The bank has said that it plans to save over $2.5 billion in the next 3 years. This comes as Barclays' annual profits fell by 6% to $8.3 billion in 2023. Microsoft is reportedly developing its own chips to improve the performance of its artificial intelligence server. The firm has roped in Pradeep Sindhu to spearhead the development efforts. Sindhu was the co-founder of tech firm Fungible that Microsoft acquired last year. With the new project, Microsoft aims to reduce its reliance on chip maker NVIDIA. So far, the tech giant has been using NVIDIA's Connect X7 card for its AI server. US streaming firm Fubo TV has filed a lawsuit against Disney, Fox and Warner Brothers' plan to launch a combined sports streaming platform. Fubo alleges that these companies are engaging in anti-competitive practices and have been trying to block Fubo TV's growth for years. Earlier this month, Fox, Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery announced plans to launch a sports streaming service. Matches from America's National Basketball Association or NBA, National Football League or NFL, the FIFA Football World Cup and college competitions are expected to stream on the new app. Moving to sports, in cricket, India's cricket board, the BCCI, confirmed that pacer Jasprit Bumrah has been rested for the fourth test against England in Ranchi. The BCCI also added that mid-order batter KL Rahul will be unavailable due to injury. India currently lead the 5-match test series 2-1. The Indian Premier League or IPL is set to start from the 22nd of March. This was confirmed by the league's chairman Arun Dhumal. However, he said that IPL fixtures were yet to be finalized as the tournament will coincide with India's general election. The general elections are expected to be held between April and May. Indian cricketer Virat Kohli and Bollywood actor Anushka Sharma were blessed with a baby boy on February 15th. The couple took to Instagram to announce the news yesterday. They have named the boy Akaye. Kohli has been out of the ongoing 5-match test series against England, citing personal reasons. In football, France captain Kylian Mbappe has reportedly agreed to join Spanish club Real Madrid. Reports say a new 5-year contract has been drawn up. Mbappe will earn over $16 million a season. It's also being reported that he will get about $162 million as a signing bonus to be paid over 5 years. However, Mbappe is yet to sign the contract with Real Madrid. Manchester City secured a nervy 1-0 win over Brentford, heating up the race for the Premier League title. City struggled to convert their domination into goals despite enjoying 75% of ball possession. Striker Erling Haaland scored the goal in the 71st minute. Man City are now just 1 point behind table-toppers Liverpool. In tennis, it was another setback for the men's world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz. He sustained an ankle injury during the first round of the Rio Open. The 25-year-old was forced to retire after just 2 points into the opening set. Alcaraz was up against wildcard Thiago Monteiro when the mishap took place. Andy Murray kicked off his 2024 season by bagging the Qatar Open title. He beat France's Alexander Müller 6-1, 7-6 in straight sets. Murray's victory came in spite of a knee injury that he suffered early in the first set. World number 2 Aryna Sabalenka crashed out of the Dubai Tennis Championships. She lost 7-6, 3-6, 0-6 in the second round against Donna Vekic yesterday. This was Sabalenka's first loss since winning the Australian Open title last month. In table tennis, Team India have entered the knockouts at the World Championships 2024. The men's side defeated New Zealand 3-0. Meanwhile, the women beat Spain 3-2 in the final group stage clash. India are yet to achieve a Paris Olympics quota in table tennis. They can do so if they reach the quarterfinals of the tournament, though. World Athletics is planning to trial a new format for long jump this season. A new designated takeoff zone could now be used instead of the traditional wooden board. The idea is to reduce the number of fouls. A no jump will be called if the foot of the athlete crosses the line of the takeoff zone. Now for news from the world of entertainment. Beyoncé's song Texas Hold'em has made it to the list of Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart. Her song has secured the top spot in this week's edition. With this, Beyoncé becomes the first black female artist to get the #1 spot on the country songs chart in the US. Her other song, 16 Carriages, got the 9th spot on the list. Britney Spears shut down all the rumors that were suggesting that she reconciled with her former partner, Paul Richard Solis. She took to social media to post a video where she said, "Being single is awesome." Spears called herself a hopeless romantic. This comes after her separation with her estranged husband, Sam Ashgari. British film director Sam Mendes has been roped into directing 4 biopic films about the Beatles. The biopics will feature the lives of Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, John Lennon and George Harrison. The Beatles label has granted the musical rights to the filmmakers. The movies have been slated for a 2027 release. The Berlin Film Festival held a special screening session in honor of director Martin Scorsese. His Oscar-winning film The Departed was shown to attendees, after which he was felicitated with a Lifetime Achievement Golden Bear. A speech was also given by German filmmaker Wim Wenders, filled with personal anecdotes which made Scorsese emotional. Netflix has greenlit the second season of the Money Heist spin-off Berlin. The series is the prequel to the events which led to the Money Heist events. The first season of Berlin saw the characters pull off a multi-million-dollar heist. The shooting for season 2 will begin in 2025. A Greek minister is not happy with the Netflix documentary series on Alexander the Great. He called it low content, rife with historical inaccuracies. The documentary, called Alexander, the Making of a God, is facing a heated debate over the portrayal of a romantic relationship between Alexander and his friend Hephaestion. The series debuted on the 31st of January this year. Warner Bros. Has moved the release date of Mickey 17 to 2025. The film, starring Robert Pattinson, will now release on the 31st of January next year. According to reports, the extension will allow the makers to finish the film that was affected by the twin Hollywood strikes last year. Actor Emma Stone might star in the remake of the South Korean comedy film Save the Green Planet. The production is expected to start this summer, with shooting schedules in the UK and the US. The film has dark comedy and satire and is about an alien invasion. According to reports, Gareth Edwards may direct the latest film in the Jurassic World franchise. The makers have set a 2025 release date and are on the lookout for a director. Edwards knows his way around movies about animals, as he has worked on films like Monsters and Godzilla. A special premiere of the film Arthur the King was organized in Los Angeles. The screening was attended by Mark Wahlberg along with a dog named Ukai, who is his canine co-star. The story revolves around Michael Light, played by Mark Wahlberg, and his relationship with an injured stray dog. Wahlberg describes the story as inspiring and heartwarming. Arthur the King will hit theaters on the 15th of March this year.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.